One of the earliest signs of spring just around the corner is the appearance in gardens of winter aconite, which comes to us originally from southern Europe. Now, the scientific name for winter aconite is Aeranthus hyemalis, which elegantly proclaims the time of its appearance in the floral calendar, because Aeranthus in Greek means spring flower, whereas hyemalis is Latin and it means wintry. Now, if you're not familiar with the flower, you might easily mistake it for lesser celandine, which is just beginning to flower at this time. But if you put the flowers together, you can see that here in winter aconite there are just 6 petals, whereas in lesser celandine the number is usually between 7 and 11. And the petals in lesser celandine are narrower and they have a kind of a burnished look to them. But the most striking difference is that these yellow petals are in fact not petals. They are sepals that have taken on the advertising function of the petals. And the petals themselves have been transformed into these elegant purse-like nectaries between the stamens and the petaloid sepals. Yellow or gold are thought to have been the original flower colours, and they are the colours that seem to have the most widespread appeal to the widest variety of insects. White, red, purple and blue are thought, in that order, to have evolved over time in more complex flowers. Yellow star flowers are found in many families, and are especially common in generalist flowers, those that want to attract a wide variety of different pollinators, which is more than usually important early in the year when there are few insects about. So, in spring we will have winter aconite, lesser celandine, yellow wood anemone, some yellow hellebores. And when the celandines and winter aconites have gone, it will be the turn of the buttercups, which will be replaced as the floral calendar advances by a populous succession of species in the dandelion tribe, hawkbits and hawkweeds and hawk's beards and south thistles, which we will look at in summer. The flowers only stay open during the day, and only as long as it doesn't rain or isn't too cloudy. The yellow sepals will close to form a sheltering dome at night, or if it rains, in order to keep the pollen dry. And this is vital, because if pollen gets wet, it is no longer viable. When the flower first opens, the rows of stamens are closely clustered around the 6 carpels at the centre, and the stamens open to release their pollen row by row, the outer ones first. As the outermost anthers split to release their pollen, they position themselves carefully over the nectaries, so that they are in the best position to contact visiting insects. But as the stamens closer to the centre mature, they have to lean further out to keep the anthers directly over the entrance to the nectaries, and in order to do this, their filaments have to lengthen. What this means, though, is that in order for the yellow sepals to continue to form a waterproof dome when they close, they have to get larger as the days go by. During the 8-day life of the flower, they actually double in length, from around 1 centimetre to 2 centimetres. The punctuality and precision with which this is achieved is quite extraordinary. The length of time an individual flower remains open is not something you would ever notice unless you are paying really close attention. The reason the winter aconite flower is active for a long time is because it's so early in the year and there are few insects about. The fruit of the winter aconite is a follicle, which is rather like a pea pod, except that it splits open on one side only. A little word of warning though. Flowers that look yellow to our eyes may look very different to the eyes of insects. For example, flowers like dandelions, buttercups or creeping cinquefoil, which are yellow to our eyes. To the eyes of bees, they look bee purple. But we can only see these things with our eyes. So how our colours look to the eyes of insects may be not simply entirely different, but unimaginable.